Hello everyone, I'm Susan Lee MacDonald with The Interview. Right now, Korea's top ballet company, Universal Ballet, is on a world tour. They've graced the stages of South Africa, Taiwan, Russia, and France, and have received critical acclaim. Today on The Interview, I'm going to meet with Julia Moon, a former prima ballerina with the Universal Ballet and the current general director of that company. I can't wait to meet her. Let's go inside and take a look at Miss Julia Moon's house. Universal Ballet, established in 1984, has become Korea's most recognized ballet company. Its original ballet, Shimcheong, captivated the hearts of Europeans, and its successful world tour has become a landmark in Korean ballet history. The mastermind behind these accomplishments is Julia Moon, the general director of Universal Ballet and a ballerina most well known for performing the part of Giselle. Moon, who was born in the United States, was brought to Korea at the age of 10 by her father and entered the world of ballet with the Little Angels Children Folk Ballet of Korea. Moon entered Sunhwa Art School in 1976 and began her professional ballet training. There, she met Adrian Delas, a teacher who would inspire her to pursue a career in dance. Moon continued on to study at the Royal Ballet School in London and l'Académie de Danse Classique de Princesse Grace in Monaco before joining the Washington Ballet in the US. In 1984, she took her first steps as a businesswoman, founding Universal Ballet, Korea's first private ballet company. In 1989, Moon gained worldwide renown as the first Asian dancer to perform the lead in Giselle with the Russian Kirov Ballet at the Mariinsky Theater in St. Petersburg. Her following roles in Don Quixote in 1992 and Swan Lake in 1995 placed Korea in the ballet spotlight. In 2002, an ankle injury led Moon to focus all her energies on her duties as general director. And since then, she has contributed greatly to raising awareness about Korean ballet around the world, as well as bringing ballet closer to the public through talks and special events. Join me, Susan Lee MacDonald, as we meet the dynamic and charismatic woman behind the beautiful characters on stage here on The Interview. Hello.
Hi, Susan.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. Welcome. So great to see you.
Come in.
Thank you so
Make
much.
yourself at home.
Oh, what a beautiful place.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you for inviting me into your place.
Anytime, you're welcome.
Oh,
here.
thank you.
Please come in.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
So beautiful. Wow. Well, I love this furniture. It's very regal. A fit for a princess.
Oh, no. I'm at home. I'm very peasanty. So.
Oh, and, I love these photos. Yes, are these family?
Yes, here you have, this is my son and
He's lifting you.
Yeah, I taught him a ballet lift, and he's quite, I used to carry him on my back, and one day he was big enough to carry me, so.
That's great. Yes, oh, well, you both look so happy there.
Yeah, and that's here I'm at 1. So he was small like this before.
Oh, yeah, so they from grow this very little fast. Baby. A matter of years.
Yes.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lovely family. Mm-hmm. What is this?
That's a Gyeongham Haksulsang. It was given to me last year by the Gyeongham Educational and Cultural Foundation. It's quite a prestigious award, given in 5 different areas. So I think I was recognized for the work I've done here in ballet and developing ballet, and also then taking it abroad. So,
oh, congratulations! That's so fantastic.
Much. Thank you.
Wow. Well, this definitely deserves a place of high honor here.
Yeah, very special. Yeah.
Wow. Wonderful.
Okay. Would you like to see what we have upstairs? I'll show you around a little bit.
Oh, I'd love to see. Yes, thank you.
This way. Yeah. This is a very small
Nice little
I'm
den.
using the second floor mostly.
I see.
Yeah,
So this is more like a living area.
yeah, the
more
second
comfy.
floor, yeah. This was my daughter when she was 3. We had a photo session together with the famous photographer Jun Choi, a wonderful photographer.
That's a beautiful photo of you and your daughter.
Here, this is the best room in the house actually,
Is
because
it?
it has a little balcony.
Oh, this
so
is
you can
great.
go outside and have some.
No, this doesn't look like.
This is my
your
son's room.
Oh, okay.
And right now he's in the States and he's studying there. So although he's not here, we have his space. And
this is so nice.
this is him when he was little.
Oh, wow. He's too cute there.
And with his grandfather.
Yeah. Well, this certainly helps you feel like he's kind of very close to you.
And we talk a lot on the phone.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So he's studying in New York right now?
Yes, yeah. On the West Coast, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Shall we go?
Sure.
Yes. Okay. See what she's doing. Selena? Hi. What are you doing?
I'm studying.
Yeah. I have a good friend that you should meet. This is Susan.
Hi.
This is Selena.
Nice to meet you, Selena. You're such a cute girl. Wow.
So,
Are we interrupting your homework?
you're working on some math?
Yeah.
That's good. Very good.
So you're also doing ballet too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dream is to become a ballerina.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
I tried to persuade her not to. No, but she's so determined, yeah.
Really?
So, yeah.
So are you practicing a lot to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to be performing soon, right? In what?
Nutcracker,
In Nutcracker? Yeah. What is your role?
the 4 little sheep.
Oh, I
And I'm
see.
the third one.
You're the
Oh,
third
how
sheep.
nice.
Okay.
Oh, I've got to go see this. Wow. Well, the best of luck to you. You're going to do fantastic.
Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much for showing us your room, Selena.
Yes, sure, it's my pleasure.
Oh, thank you. So now maybe we can go downstairs and get ready for the interview.
Okay.
Okay,
That's
fantastic.
what you're here for, so.
Yes, wonderful. So finally, we're sitting down
Yes.
after the wonderful tour of your house. Thank you so much again for the tour.
You're welcome. You're most welcome in my house anytime.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, it's such a comfortable feeling here,
Yeah.
and just even sitting in these couches, I really feel like it's so comfortable to start our interview here.
Well, I try to make my house very homey, and everybody that I've invited here have all mentioned that it's just very peaceful, and the atmosphere in the house is very nice. So I think I'm a good homemaker.
Yeah, I can definitely tell.
Yes.
Well, I'm guessing that one of the reasons that you're so comfortable here is that there are lots of your touches throughout the house.
Yes, yes. Actually, I moved here around 2006. So until then, I was living with my in-laws. So I really didn't have my own space, my own home. And I always wondered what it would be like to have my own place one day. And actually, I never imagined that I would. I thought I'd always be living together with them in one house, and it sort of just happened. And so when I finally moved into this space, it was just so nice to be able to. And it's not because it's a nice space or a large space. I mean, even if it were a tiny little place, just to have somewhere that you can call your own,
Yes.
and to put things where you want them to be, and just to make a very homey, comfortable atmosphere that reflects you.
Yes.
I think it just gave me so much joy. Yeah, and then to be able to invite people like you today to my home is
Now,
also
can I
a
ask,
great pleasure.
has anyone else done an interview in your home before?
No, this is the first time actually.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
So this is really special.
Yes, yes.
Wow, we feel extra honored.
Universal Ballet, Korea's first private professional ballet company, is composed of 60 dancers and 40 staff members. The company is globally minded, bringing in dancers from Korea and abroad. Universal Ballet, established in 1984, now has 28 years of history. And starting under the direction of Arirang, the first artistic director. with over 100 ballet performances in Korea and abroad to become Korea's most recognized ballet company. Universal Ballet succeeded in increasing the popularity of ballet in Korea and raising awareness about Korean ballet around the world, rewriting Korean ballet history. The company strives not only to continue the centuries-old tradition of classical ballet, but also to incorporate various genres of modern dance and original ballet to maximize the unique strengths and beauty of Korean culture.
Well, you're a really busy woman, and you have a family as well as an incredible dance company. As the president and the main director of the Universal Ballet Company, what is your role?
I plan the year, I choose the repertory, I'm involved with the casting. Of course, we have our artistic director, Brian Yu, who is more hands-on in the daily routine of the company, scheduling the rehearsals. I sort of take care more of the bigger picture. And as well, I'm also the bridge to promote the company outside the company to presenters, to managers, to promoters or sponsors. So I have to also be meeting a lot of people, being the face of the company.
Definitely.
So that takes a lot of time, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I imagine that you have quite a number of staff members who are just helping you arrange all those meetings and talking to people.
I have to say I'm blessed with wonderful people, and I think that's been true throughout my life, is to have really capable people and good people to work with. Absolutely, I do not take the credit for the Universal Ballet by myself. It's these people working every day in the offices, the administration, on the stage, the technical crew, absolutely fabulous. The artists who create our sets and costumes, fabulous people who have been working in the company for many years. So actually, the reason why it works, it's sometimes I sit in the theater before the performance and we're having a dress rehearsal. And you have the sets, the lighting, the costumes, getting tickets sold, and the dancers, principals, soloists, corps de ballet, each has its own responsibility, people who take care of the props. And there's so many separate departments, and they all work separately until you get to the stage. And on the stage, everything comes together. And some still,
like
even to this day, it's like, wow, gosh, it's amazing how it just comes together. And when the curtain goes up, you have a complete whole performance. And it's because everyone in each department is doing their role and doing it very well, that we can have that level of performance.
It sounds like you've got a really well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
To have all those different parts come together.
I'm
and
really
so
grateful.
synergetic and creating such beautiful masterpieces.
Yes, yeah.
Shimcheong is Universal Ballet's original Korean work. The ballet Shimcheong is a Western ballet adaptation of the Korean folktale Shimcheongjeon, or Tale of Shimcheong. In Shimcheong, the protagonist Shimcheong sacrifices her life to restore her blind father's vision. The ballet portrays the beauty of a traditional Korean story through Western dance. The work captivated European audiences and successfully gave 200 performances in 10 countries around the world, making Universal Ballet the star of a new ballet Hallyu.
Tell me more specifically about your world tours that you've done, and what types of shows and how you choose your shows for the world tours, and what the response has been.
Oh, well, we've been on a world tour, a 3-year world tour project, which started 2 years ago. So next year will be the last part of this world tour. Actually, the way it got started was that we have a sister organization called the Little Angels of Korea, which is a traditional dance, folk dance, and singing children's performing arts group.
Now, you were a member of that group
Yeah,
when you were
I was
a child,
a little
yes?
angel once a long time ago. Yeah. So this company actually this year is celebrating, the Little Angels celebrating their 50th anniversary. So it was created almost right after the Korean War. And the reason why it was created was, you know, back then, when you said Korea, people thought of war, a war-torn country, poverty, you know, orphans. That was sort of what Korea was known for. And my father-in-law, Reverend Moon, knew and wanted to show the rich culture that Korea had to the world. He wanted to change that image that Korea had. So back then in 1962, they started, back then when people were only thinking of how to survive day by day, you know, the fact that he started a dance, a company for the arts actually is very remarkable. And they've toured the world, especially 2 years ago was the 60th anniversary of the Korean War. And so the Little Angels embarked on a tour, international tour, to all the 16 countries that served during the Korean War.
Oh, how meaningful.
Right, yeah. And the purpose of this tour was to show these veterans in these countries to say, basically to say thank you for saving the country, because without their sacrifice, and they were great sacrifices made during that war, Korea would not be what it is today. And we need to let people know that we do not forget that sacrifice and that to show our gratitude. So the Little Angels embarked on a 16-country world tour. They went to every country, and then they the Universal Ballet's world tour sort of started as an extension of that tour. And in a way, at the end of 2009, Korea was once a country receiving aid from many different countries. In 2009, we made the transition of being a country to give aid.
To be a donor country.
Donor country, exactly. So in that aspect, you know, also in a cultural way as well, we actually, Korean ballet was very primitive, but we grew so fast with so much education and help from many, you know, different countries. We had and great artists who came and helped us to build up the level of ballet here. And in a way, now I think that Korean ballet is at a level where we, instead of always being on the receiving end, that we also can sort of share our art and not only share it, but also contribute to the development of ballet throughout the world. And it was with that sort of intention and heart that this world tour was started as an extension of the Little Angels 60th Korean War 60th anniversary tour.
Recently in South Africa, you did Swan Lake. I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, well, when we began this world tour, we sent a lot of our information to many, many theaters throughout the world. And we got a response almost immediately from South Africa. And of course, we've never been to Africa. I've never been to Africa, so it was always a dream.
What was that like?
Well, actually, the unfortunate thing is when you perform, you don't get to see much of the country because you're in the hotel, you're in the theater, and the schedule is so tight. When you have 60, 70 people traveling with you, you don't have, you know. So I didn't get to see much of the country, but the theater was a wonderful theater, the Joburg Theater in South Africa. We did Swan Lake. I was most curious to see what the audience response would be, and during the performance, you could see that majority, or at least 50% of the audience were foreigners living in South Africa.
Interesting.
They were making lots of efforts. What was really, really nice to see was that we had about 60 students, junior high school and high school students from Soweto, come to the theater, and they asked me to give a lecture demonstration before an explanation of the ballet to these students. So it was really very rewarding to be able to meet these young students.
Nice.
They were so attentive and so sweet. And the interesting thing was it was not only about just learn about ballet, but the administration, people from the theater who spoke to the students says, you too can also think of a career in the theater or in the arts. So, you know, it
gives them hope that they can perform one day too.
So I think it was very educational and very rewarding for me to be able to speak to those students. And the audience response was wonderful. The two performances were completely sold out. and the dancers did a great job. Yeah.
The Nutcracker is another show that you perform every year, and I'd like to ask you why you choose the Nutcracker. It's a show that's been done many times throughout the world, and I'm curious why you choose to do the Nutcracker.
Well, the story is, of course, based on Christmas. It's Christmas Eve. Clara is given a gift, and it happens to be this very ugly Nutcracker doll that nobody else likes. But for some reason, she just falls in love with this ugly face. He has big teeth like this. And it's very hard because it's made out of wood. But for some reason, Claire falls in love with this doll, and later on, of course, he turns into a prince, and she has this wonderful fantasy dream in this fantasy world, dancing together with her prince. So it's a beautiful ballet for children.
Yes.
Of course, parents are always looking for something to show their children during Christmas time, and we've been doing it since actually 1985.
So pretty much since the beginning.
Since the beginning. Back then, there was no tradition or culture of seeing Nutcracker in December. So we were really starting from scratch. But I remember when the first year we scheduled, Adrienne Dallas actually, she scheduled 22 performances of Nutcracker, and everybody was going, she must be crazy. 22 performances. Back then it was, even now when we have a show, it's like 7 or 8.
Wow. In
1984, 22 performances of Nutcracker was insane.
That's a lot of shows.
But we did it every year, and now it's like, you haven't seen Nutcracker yet? So it's become
I'm certainly looking forward to seeing Nutcracker this year with you all.
It's become a tradition here as well as in the West, yeah.
As a dancer, it was a way of expression, and as a director, it's a way of giving. So on the stage, it was an outlet. While I was on the stage, and there was a certain, through the hard work and the rehearsals and all that hardships, you had a sense of freedom when you get on stage. So that was what dancing was for me as a dancer, and now as a director, it's a way of giving back to my experience to young dancers who are now growing, future generations, young students, and a way to give to the audience, because when we have performances of Swan Lake or Nutcracker, and you see hundreds of people coming into the auditorium, parents with children, or lovers together, or husband and wife, and they come, and you see them totally absorbed in this performance of Swan Lake or Nutcracker, and then you see them go, say things like, wow, that was better than a movie, or, I want to bring my girlfriend next time, I want to show her this, you see there's so much joy and satisfaction in that, and so as a director, there's a great satisfaction in being able to give that energy, that inspiration to people. I think that's what ballet is for me now.
Switching gears a little bit,
Okay.
You are known for being a prima ballerina. You are known for being the director and president of your ballet company. And apart from your life as a ballerina, I'd like to go into you as a person, you as a young girl. You were born in the States.
Yes, I was born in a hospital that was in Washington, D.C., but I grew up in McLean, Virginia.
Okay.
And basically lived there until I was, till elementary school. I graduated elementary school there.
And then you decided to come to Korea.
Well, actually, it wasn't my decision. It was my father's decision, because at that time, and he still is actually directing the Little Angels of Korea. So
Even still?
He's still now, yes. So,
Interesting.
yes, he was the one who organized the Korean War 60th anniversary tour. I think, you know, it was in his mind that he wanted one of his daughters to be one of the little angels. Of course, he had 3 to choose from. So I happened to be the thinnest and sort of very pale, you know, and I think he thought, you know, okay, I think she'll do. So he chose me to go and be a part of the Little Angels. I was 10 when I first came here.
So no Korean at the time,
no.
but I bet that you had to learn pretty quickly just to learn how to kind of get
so
around.
I was going every day to the studio to learn Korean dance, you know, which of course I didn't know how to do. And I had 2 months, there was 2 months before the troupe was supposed to depart on an international tour.
Oh, wow.
So I had a crash course in 2 months, and I learned everything and went on the tour with the Little Angels. And by then, of course, I made lots.
So after your time as a little angel, now how long did you stay in the troupe?
So I was there for about 2 years, actually, and then I came back and finished off elementary. But then I continued with the Little Angels. We decided that I should go to, my parents and I decided that I should go to the Sunhwa Art School.
Okay.
So when you enter the Sunhwa Art School, you have to pick an art form. And for the Little Angels, they have the choice of going into the dance department or going into the kayagum, which is an instrument we all learned how to play.
It's like the zither.
Yes, yeah. Or, of course, because Little Angels also sang, going into singing, which Shin Young-ok did, and she became the famous opera singer that
Did
she
you
is
also
now.
sing as a child too with Little Angels?
Yes, everyone had to. It was a group of 31, 32 children, and we were all, you know, plays alto, mezzo, soprano. I was on the alto side. I was not a very good singer, to say the least. So singing was definitely out of the question. Kayagum was not that interesting for me. So the option was Korean dance, and I thought, well, do I really want to continue Korean dance? And then that was the year that Adrian Dallas came from America and joined the school. So it just happened to coincide.
The synchronicity just kind of happened.
And so I thought, oh, American teacher from ballet teacher. I did ballet when I was in America.
Before that, you had been doing some kind of dance and ballet back in Virginia, yes?
In Virginia, with my younger sister, we went to take ballet lessons twice a week. And, you know, it was more like a hobby. You know, I like doing it. I love ballet. Maybe I'll do ballet again. And so I decided to enter Sunhwa into the ballet department.
So what was training like with her?
Very intense. She was a very, very good teacher, but she was she was very Sparta, you know, very strong while she was in class. Outside of the classroom, she was like her mom. We used to have so much fun with her. We'd go to her home and sort of put makeup on her and stuff like that. But in the class, really strict. And because she was that way, she got results. And you can tell what kind of teacher she was by this example. It was during our 3rd year, the Royal Ballet came to Korea for the opening of the Sejong Arts Center.
Okay.
And she invited 2 teachers from the ballet master and the ballet mistress, which was Donald McLeary and Gerd Larson, to come to the school and audition 7 of us for the upper school of the Royal Ballet.
Wow.
And all 7 of us were accepted.
All 7 of you were accepted.
And usually this school is an upper school, so it has 2 years. It's a 2-year course, and they have a lower school, which is a 6-year course. So students going into the upper school are students who have 6 years of education in ballet. We only had 3.
Wow, and still all 7 of you?
And still all 7 of us were accepted. So that is an example that clearly shows you what kind of teacher and the level of teaching that Adrian Dallas had given us.
After your time at Sunhwa, and you were picked as one of the 7 girls to go be part of the very exclusive school. What was your experience like in England?
Well, we were just elated when we heard that we had been accepted, so it was like a dream come true. And we went there. I went there with 2 other friends who were in a grade higher than me. So the 3 of us went there together. And when we first arrived, it was a bit. And you know, I had a lot of difficulty actually when I went to the Royal Ballet School, and it was because when we arrived there the first day, we found out that we were all foreigners were placed in a foreigners class, separate from the other students, the British students. You know, everything was fine, but you know, the fact that we were sort of segregated into a separate category and were not allowed to perform in the once a year school performance.
I see.
So it was,
that must have been so disappointing.
I was 17, so it was a bit of a disappointment, and actually it was a big disappointment, and you know, it just eventually, you know, I later developed stress fracture in my left leg. You know, you know, they say all illness comes from something emotional.
Right. Yes.
You know, and I think that's true to a certain extent. I really had doubts, and I wanted to quit. So I was given second year, but I called my mom up and I said, you know, I really don't think I should continue. And of course she was worrying too, because being a ballet dancer back then in Korea, when the still society was
not really accepting of it.
Not accepting of it, you know, it was also her concern. So she was actually quite happy when I told her. She says, good, come back home. And she sent me a plane ticket right the next day, you know, to come. And my father called me the next day and he said, 꼼짝도 말고 거기 있어라. You stay put right there, don't move. And then he said, you work so hard to get here, and you're gonna just, you know, he said, I don't think it's the right decision. I would like you to try a different school, and if you still feel the same after trying another school, then I will allow you to choose.
Because you were still 17 and you're still a minor, and of course in Korean families you listen to your parents
to be a good goody two shoes.
So then you went to Monaco.
So
and, and how did that decision change your life?
It was the atmosphere in the school in Monte Carlo, the Académie de la Danse, the Princess Grace. That school was, although it was a large school, it was more, we were living in the dorms there. It was more like a family. And Marika Besa-Brasova also loved Asian culture, and she loved Asian people. So the whole atmosphere changed actually. It was, I think the 2 years, almost 2 years that I spent in Monte Carlo were one of the happiest 2 years. Of course, Little Angels, when I toured with Little Angels, it was great fun, you know, after I had made lots of friends. So that was a very happy period. Monte Carlo was also a happy period that I remember.
So you made lots of friends, you loved being in Monaco, and did that help you decide that you wanted to stay,
Yes, it did,
ballet?
Yes.
I heard that in a lot of your classes that you excelled quite a bit, but especially in acting and in learning facial expressions. Just even as we're talking today, you're so animated, and it's so fun to just to see you talk about certain stories from the past. What were some of the things that you learned in that facial expressions class?
Well, actually, it wasn't in Monte Carlo, but it was much later when I worked with a fantastic coach. Her name is Jeta Constantinescu. She's Romanian, and she came. I met her in New York. She was teaching in New York. Actually, I came to take a class, and the teacher was ill, so she was substituting for him that day, and that's how we met. And later she came to Universal Ballet, and we worked together for many, many years. But she is a fantastic coach, and she was wonderful a coach because she was not just a teacher. She was a mom. She was like a friend. She was sometimes a sister. She was everything all in one. And there was nothing she would do. She would, you know, sometimes if I had pain in my feet, she'd take my shoes off and just massage my feet, you know. And sometimes we would go into a studio and nothing would work that day. And she said, Julia, take your shoes off, go to the park, you know. On some days, just nothing works. And on days like that, you just have to go out and go into nature and just refresh yourself. So she taught me a lot of things. And I think that if there's anything that much of what I know and teach to the dancers that I coach now is coming from Jeta.
Whenever we mention you as the prima ballerina of the Universal Ballet, we cannot help but mention the fact that you played Giselle. And you just mentioned your training from Jetta, is that right?
Yes.
And the different things she taught you about how to be a better dancer. And I'd like for you to tell us a little bit about what was your experience like as Giselle?
Wow. Well, I think, you know, there are many roles in ballet, but when I first did Giselle in my early 20s, I think it was her character, Giselle, was very, I think of all the characters in the many ballets that I have done, was the closest to my personality. So I think it was easy for me to relate to her.
And you were also one of the first Asian dancers to ever play Giselle, is that right?
I'm not sure if I'm the first Asian dancer to play Giselle, but I was the first to dance it in Russia. Yeah. So that was also very challenging and very special.
How was that received?
My partner was Andreas Liepa, who was at that time a principal dancer at the Bolshoi Ballet. And it was actually his first full-length ballet with the Mariinsky. Back then it was called the Kirov Ballet. So it was my first full-length there, and it was also his first full-length there, and he was a fantastic partner. And working together with him, I think, was the magic that happened on the stage, was really a large part due to having such a wonderful partner. And the audience response was very warm. We had many curtain calls.
I heard about the fact that you had over 7 curtain calls for that. Is that right?
I think it must have been Andreas.
Now, you retired as a professional ballerina in 2001, and I'm curious why you decided to retire.
It was because of a recurring injury. I had injured my right foot a couple years before, and during that period, that particular year, we had 2 international tours, one to the US and one to Europe. And I just had to be on stage, to be a part of those tours. So I got some injections in my foot to help me cope with the pain.
I see.
During the tours, it was okay, but the problem was coming like 2 years later. In that year, in 2009. That period, I was already 39, and a lot of dancers are retiring, before around the age of 40. So I sort of took it as a signal, like you need to do something else now. You need to focus your energy on somewhere else. So I focused my energy on the administration, management of the company while I was healing my foot. And then when I got my 2 hands and 2 feet in there, I realized that there was so much to do. So much was not done. So I thought, okay, this is a signal. I will, there are young dancers who will take the center of the stage, we need to raise them up, and I made that decision to transfer from the stage to organizing the company.
Wonderful.
Sunhwa Art School is the cradle of Korea's most talented artists. Today, Julia Moon has come as a judge for the students' final exams. Around the room, students were stretching and warming up for the exam.
평소대로 할 수 있을지 걱정도 되고 기대도 되고 감정 표현하는 거, 음악을 듣고 무엇을 생각하고 무엇을 느꼈는지 표현하는 거를 많이 보여주고 싶어요.
A few minutes before the exam, Moon walks into the room and the students immediately tense up.
How much they've progressed through the year, how much they understand, how I see them understanding the movement, understanding the technique, not just whether they do it well, but I really like to see intelligent dancers, intelligent students working with their mind, not just with their body. So I grade according to those points.
The music begins, and the most important exam of the semester is in session. Throughout the test, Moon doesn't take her eyes off the dancers. She and the other judges are determined to see every move. The students here have spent the entire semester learning the most basic arm and leg movements that will create the foundation of their ballet. Moon once walked along the same path herself. She pays close attention, knowing that these dancers represent the future of Korean ballet. The exam moves to the center of the room, away from the bar. While the students being scored smile brightly and move as one with the music, just behind the curtain, there are other students awaiting their turn with abated breath.
연습하던 때보다 못 보여준 것들이 있어서 조금 아쉽고요.
실수는 조금씩 하긴 했는데 그래도 1학기보다는 조금 했어요.
So when I see these young students and beautiful training, beautiful minds, beautiful physiques, I see how far we've come in a very short time, and I see that the future of ballet here in Korea is very bright.
Moon's morning with the young students of Sunhwa comes to a close, and she begins her afternoon at the Universal Arts Center. She is there to meet with the dancers of Universal Ballet, who are in rehearsal. The dancers move endlessly throughout the rehearsal, conducted like a real performance. Moon watches the scene quietly from one side.
You bound, then on the way down you come.
During the break, Moon corrects the dancers' hand movements and eye contact, giving demonstrations herself.
Yes, yeah, now it's free. Yes.
제가 이제 단장님의 개인 코치 정말 하나하나 다 받아가면서 이제까지 했거든요. 그래서 모르겠어요. 단장님이 저한테는 조금 더 애틋한 그런 게 저도 단장님한테 있고 단장님도 저한테 있으신 것 같아요. 항상 뭐 하나하나 정말 눈동자를 여기 쳐다볼지 저기 쳐다볼지 그런 것까지 다 코치해 주세요.
One of the dancers seems to have a question and asks Moon for help. Moon gladly takes the time to help her dancers and offers words of advice. And watch moves repeated over and over to give encouragement. She even makes mental notes of the things to tell each dancer throughout the rehearsal. The dancers are like her family.
She's always watching our rehearsal, and then she have a lot of corrections to us, and then we following, listening, and also we have our teacher. But if our director Julia Mon coming, she's like very detailed.
단장님은 굉장히 우선 섬세하시고 여리시고 마음이 되게 여리시고 따뜻하신 분이신 것 같아요. 그래서 또 이렇게 무용수에게 무슨 일이 생기면 자기 일처럼 많이 이렇게 아파해 주시기도 하고 같이 생각해 주시고.
For Julia Moon, each hour in the day is spent with ballet. From the future ballet dancers of Korea to the dancers composing Universal Ballet, there is no dancer that she does not wish to help and encourage. It is this passion that makes Moon's dreams and efforts all the more beautiful.
So now you've been on both sides of the business. You've been the dancer, and that also a prima ballerina, and now you're the general director, the president of your ballet company, and you've seen both sides. Which side do you prefer?
Oh boy. Well, the dancing is very physically demanding. Being on the administrative side is a whole different challenge. although physically, of course, it's much easier, you know, in terms of lifestyle to be in the administration. It's not, I feel like sometimes I'm a fish out of water. As a dancer, you focus on yourself. The energy goes towards you. You work in the studio, you take care of your body, you take care of what you eat, you rehearse, you work on your production, your role, you know, and then on the stage, you give this energy to hundreds of people at once. As an administrator, it's the opposite. You have to give your energy to people on a daily basis. You're always giving and checking and supporting, and you know, it's a completely opposite work, I think. So, and you have to really be a people person, you know. And with my sort of shy nature, that has not always come easily for me. And even now, it's as a leader, you have to speak to your dancers, you have to speak to your staff in public, you have to speak for certain occasions and special events. And I always find, you know, I just really do not enjoy speaking in public. It's a real cross for me.
Well, you're doing a really great job today.
Well, right now I'm speaking to you as a friend, so it's a lot easier. But when, you know, holding a mic and speaking in public, that's something that I find very difficult. So what I enjoy doing is, of course, dancing in ballet, although it's very, very demanding emotionally, physically. I'm more in I'm in my right environment, I think, when I'm in the studio. 6 hours can go like this when I'm working with dancers. And still, working on the administrative side is a little bit still for me like pulling teeth. You know, I'm still, you know, I didn't train as a administrator and in management, so it doesn't come naturally for me. So it's, I have to make real special effort to make things work, I think.
Up until this point, you've had so much experience traveling the world, doing something that it seems like you love doing, ballet, and now on the administrative side, and now as the face of the Universal Ballet Company. Is there any kind of advice that you would like to give young men and women who are thinking of a career in the arts, particularly the ballet, and what you would like to say to them if they're really considering ballet?
Well, first of all, you have to love it. Ballet is not an art form that, although in my case may be a little bit unusual, but you know, it's a very difficult profession. It's demanding and it takes a lot of discipline. So unless you love it, it's not something that you can do. So the first is to love it for what it is, not for what it can do for you, but because you love it very simply. And the second thing is, most young dancers and young students now, they're, and it maybe perhaps it's a Korean trait, this 빨리빨리, quickly, you know, but technique, yes, is important, tricks are important, and you know, winning a competition is important, but I think young artists may confuse stardom or winning a competition or a medal in an international competition as that they have arrived, and
that there's nothing else that they have to do.
And that's very dangerous. 빨리빨리, going quickly up the ladder is not always in the end the right way. There are other ways that, and I feel that what is important is integrity. You know. Of course, it's every dancer's dream to become a principal dancer in any company. And that's the goal that everybody has. But it has to be your love for the art, that you are at service in your art, not that your art serves you. So it has to be the other way, that you serve your art. And because you served your art with utmost integrity, one day you become a principal dancer, not the other way around, you know. So I think that's very important for me, and for young dancers.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Oh, I hope to see myself sitting in the auditorium watching Universal Ballet and not having to take notes. You know, I would like to see the company running even better than when I was at the helm. So that what I would like to see is that what has been built is inherited by the next generation. In 10 years I'll be 60, so that would be a real dream for me, is to see what was built handed down to the next generation to the point where they're actually doing it much better than the previous generation. And I can go and watch performances without worrying or taking notes and corrections. And if that were to be possible, then I would be spending a lot more time just reading and enjoying, you know, being a homebody. You know, I love being at home and making the home, as we spoke about, you know, a nice place to be. So I also would like more time for myself, you know, just to read, to study, to enrich myself more, because it's something I, you know, didn't have much time. I don't have much time right now, so
well,
hopefully by then, you know, that would be something nice.
Well, you certainly deserve it more than so many. You've devoted your life to this beautiful art and graced the stage, helping so many people fall in love with ballet and doing so much here in Korea to help promote ballet and helping even promote Korean culture, you know, through the Korean wave, the Hallyu, by introducing Korean culture through ballet in the world. So I know that you've got a lot of plates that you're spinning at one time. You're doing many different things with your role as the director, but I really wish you all the success in the future.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to see the Nutcracker when it comes out soon.
Okay, we'll be ready for you.
Great. Thank you again so much for inviting us here, and thank you for being on the interview.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
이거 해줘.